but more than 1/5 of Filipino children hardly feel it.
Environmental pollution contributed to the deaths of about 9 million people in 2015.
A whopping 9 million people now live under the poverty line.
Germany's economy is booming. The unemployment rate is low.
We have reached a point of exploiting so much our planet. It leads to an extreme climate change. But everything we have done has served the common good? Humanity has achieved great scientific, cultural, economic advances, but we are finishing our home. After thousands of years struggling to find a system that allows us to cover all our needs, it is always summarized in the same: exploit resources, transform them, consume them, and, in the end, simply discard them, contaminating everything that surrounds us. Nowadays, the market is governed by a system that does not care about the environment and neither the people and their human dignity. Despite all the economic systems that have existed, the world is currently governed by a capitalist system, where a few amounts of people appropriate a wealth produced by many. It's a system to take and give, most of all take. This produces anarchy in production that ultimately harms low-income inhabitants that make up 90% of the world's population worldwide. Future civilizations will be judged by the great difference that occurs between classes. In addition, the businessman freely sets the price of the products at his judgment. With the production, multinationals affect their environment and with this also the places from which the prime matter is extracted, namely the third world countries, degrading the environment faster and in more proportion. Every day, capitalist countries are administered as a corporation, but not as a country, where the opinion of all is valid and is heard in a system called democracy. The country is governed by a dictatorship, where the main ruler is money. That is how these places are becoming a plutocracy. How has this system been in power for so long? There is a very simple answer to this: the propaganda. It has the ability to convince the people who are being victimized by the system to support it and convince themselves that it is the best solution that can be given to the economy. Nowadays, it's sworn more loyalty to profit motivation that capitalism gives than to the religion. In 2012, according to the UN, the Earth reached 7 billion people. It is estimated that 1% of the population appropriates 99% of what is produced every year in the world. A new report from the World Bank Group concludes that by 2050 the increasing impacts of climate change in 3 densely populated regions of the world could lead to the displacement of more than 140 million people within their respective countries, which would bring with it an imminent humanitarian assistance and would pose a threat to the development process. Capitalism is a system that allows the individual to choose where to work, how to exercise, sell the products to everyone's taste, and that guarantees human dignity at all costs due to the free market system. But all this is true? It is evident that the capitalist impact towards the middle or working class is excessively high, where every time the poverty index is even more prominent, there are massive dismissals, increase of working hours, and in addition to this, the cost in health is even higher. Companies need to obtain a considerable margin of gain to remain competitive in the market. Therefore, they resort to savings. How serious are the threats to our environment? Here is a vision of the problem. If we continue to do exactly what we are doing, without growth in global economy. The world in the later part of this century will not be able to live. Activities will not be maintained at current levels. They are accelerating dramatically, and with this, the pace of climate change, biotic and social impoverishment, and environmental toxification. Furthermore, we resign ourselves to the fact that there is no solution. Resignation arises from this capitalist totalitarian speech, such as it were a new religion. There is no truer than competitiveness is the main objective. There are no more powers than those that markets have. The economy has to grow constantly. It does not matter if the waters are polluted, rivers, seas, or air are contaminated. Competitiveness is sustained growth, and markets are all that matters. Economy's power cannot be countered, and in addition it shows us that this is what produces well-being. The capitalist model has failed, and it offers no solution to humanity. It only can provoke a war from resources that would be the extinction of life on the planet. The struggle today is for the survival of the human species. The true wealth of a nation is in its people, not in the accumulation of wealth in the hands of few. The most effective alternative is taking the money out of the equation. But what can be a viable solution? Why have we created a society that discards energy, matter, and products that have already been used? Why not transform all of those? Imagine a world in which the waste we generate becomes in resources again. That is, they transform and they will haven't been destroyed. For the circular economies to be established, the main idea of the circular economy is that the products, materials, and resources have a longer life and are not destroyed, but reused. To continue having natural resources and eliminate up to 70% of emissions of CO2. On the other hand, new declarations of rights should be established that truly watch over the welfare for the working class. The workers have become a symbol for the entire middle class because they represent what happens to the economy in general, a plutonum. There are people who never received their part of the cake because other people took it. Capitalism is bad, and clearly evil cannot be regulated. We have to eliminate it with something that generates a common good. Replace it with well-implemented democracy.